telling us to enjoy it while they're young. But our days are filled with chaos and stress and cooking and endless laundry piles. Where's the time to enjoy anything? Yeah, that's what I always thought too. There's so much I have to do. When do I find time for peace and joy and happiness when I barely have time to sleep? Mama, it's time for a shift. You can be a happy mom. Yeah, it's possible. If I can, you can. Trust me. I've been a mess. I've been depressed. I've been overwhelmed. I've been to the bottom of the pits. And I've risen. I've grown. I've bloomed. And it all started when I realized I didn't have to anything. I get to. It is my privilege and my honor and my divine responsibility to be the queen of my home. It's not a burden. I'm not the janitor and the lunch lady. I'm in charge. I'm the ruler. I'm the chaos coordinator. I'm the calm in the storm. I don't have to anything. I get to. And so do you. So let's rise, mamas. Adjust your crown. Accept your responsibility. And change the effing world. It's all in the way you choose to see it. You're listening to I Get To, the podcast with Brittany Clarkson. That's me. Hello, my friend. Hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. I am just so thrilled to have you here. I am blown away by the fact that you're listening to me. That you're listening to me again, likely. Because I have so many, not a ton, but a lot more than I ever expected. So many people returning every week to listen to what I'm saying. And that blows me away. Like, my mind has exploded. If you've known me, personally, for a long time, or at all, you know that speaking is one of my greatest fears. Being heard is one of my greatest fears. Not just public speaking, but that has had me nearly wetting my pants on multiple occasions to stand in front of a crowd and speak, even small scale, like speaking to another mom at the park has had me terrified. I have always been afraid of speaking. So this is a big deal to me. It takes a ton of bravery for me to sit here alone in my office and speak to a microphone knowing that another human is going to hear the words in their ears. So how did I get here today? How have I gotten over that fear? And, most people who are big time speakers speaking in front of big crowds, they're like, you don't get over the fear. I still show up afraid every day. But I kind of did overcome this fear. I'm really not afraid to speak in front of people because what it is I let go of allowing what I think other people think about me to control me. What I think other people are thinking about me no longer bothers me. Because usually I'm wrong about what I think other people are thinking about me. That is what I have come to discover is I have thought that a lot of people didn't like me. And then it turned out I was wrong. They did. And it kind of blows me away. And a lot of that has always been rooted in this self-loathing and self-hate that I had struggled with for so long, and learning to love myself as I am, accept myself where I am, know that I am growing. I'm never going to be perfect. I'm always going to be able to get better. That has helped me overcome a lot. And knowing that I'm showing up with a purpose behind what I'm saying, knowing that I'm not the one who's really in control of what I'm saying, that has really helped me to show up. Knowing that I'm here for a purpose to spread a message of hope and peace and joy and ease, that has motivated me to overcome that fear and that care of what other people think about me. Because if you don't like me, that's fine. Don't listen to me. That's cool. If you're going to waste your time listening to someone you don't like, might I suggest a therapist? If you don't like me, you shouldn't be here. That's a you problem, not a me problem. Um, and I hope that you guys can glean from that and take that into your own personal lives and just kind of quit caring what other people think about you, because a lot of times they're not thinking about you. And if they're going to spend their time thinking about someone they don't like, then that's a them problem, not a you problem. You can't be liked by everybody. You can't be everybody's cup of tea when not everybody is even a tea drinker, right? Like, hi, think about your favorite thing in the entire world. Not everybody likes that. Think about the best TV show. Not everybody likes that. You can't be liked by everybody. And you just have to be okay with not being liked by some people. And that is one of the biggest fears that I've overcome, is letting go of what other people think about me and being okay with not being liked by everybody. And honestly, I'm liked by a lot more people than I used to think I was liked by. So that's really neat that I just had a skewed perception of myself. Um, I hope that you know a lot of people like you. A lot more people than you think like you, probably like you. I want to talk a lot about fear today. If I was still making fear-based decisions, I wouldn't have this podcast. I had to be motivated by love to sit here in front of you and tell you all the things that I tell you every day. All these things that I come in here and whisper sweetly into your ear. It's out of love. I'm 100% motivated by love in this business. Everything I want to share with you comes from love, because I love you and I hate the idea of you ever feeling the way I used to feel. I hate the idea of anyone struggling with the things that I have overcome. When I know all these secret sauces, I gotta tell. I can't keep that to myself. That's so rude. I don't think I could live with myself if I overcame everything I've overcome and then didn't share it. I don't care if I sound stupid. The things I'm saying are important. I mean, not everything, maybe. Sometimes I make bad jokes. It's not very important. You didn't need to hear that. I wasted your time for 30 seconds. But overall, the things I'm here to share are important. And for a long time, I didn't go deep on that. I didn't, I was just really telling surface stories and not going deep on what's really going on, you know? I mean, I chose not to kill myself. That's a big freaking deal. And if I can encourage anyone else out there to choose life and to choose life abundantly, oh my gosh, my choice was worth it. Let's talk about making fear-based decisions. Every day, we make thousands of decisions, like literally thousands, something like 35,000 decisions. I think they say only like 3,500 of those are conscious decisions or remotely conscious decisions. I was just talking about this with my husband last night about how many decisions we make, because he was kind of making fun of me for like spiraling out of control when I don't know what to cook for dinner. I've gotten into this better habit where, see, because I order like the every plate box, so it comes with 5 meals, but then it's like, oh, I still have to decide what to cook tonight. And so last night I went out and I was just like, I need you to just come in and tell me which one to make, because my brain is doing tricks on me again and making me feel crazy trying to make a decision between 5 meals sitting in front of me. Can you please come help? Just make the decision for me. Because sometimes I struggle with this whole like, what I want to eat isn't what I want to cook. So I was like, can you just please make the decision so I don't have to? I'm done with decisions for the day. And so then later in the evening, he was kind of making fun of me for what a big deal I make about a simple decision like that. Um, he was comparing me to my 4-year-old who was like freaking out because he wanted to brush his teeth before putting on his pajamas, but he'd already gotten out of the bath and he needed to put his pull up on. And he was just kind of freaking out about the situation not going the way he imagined it was going to go. My husband was just like, I wonder where he gets that from. He's like, oh, well, not from me, because I come from a long line of level headed humans who never struggle to make a decision. So that's how we got on that topic. And then we ended up discussing, because I told him we make like 30,000 decisions in a day. He's like, no, you don't. He's trying to do the math. That's a decision every like half a second or something. And then I was like, fine, just Google it. How many decisions you make? It's like 35,000 decisions in a day. About 3,500 of those are like semi conscious decisions where you actually know you're making the decision. So many decisions happen on autopilot. This is why we get decision fatigue. Something like 216 decisions per day are food based. That's an interesting fact, right? We think about food that many times a day. No wonder I'm exhausted. Over 200 decisions about food in a day. Yes, by the time dinner comes around, I don't want to decide what to do for dinner anymore. I just want food in my stomach. But we make a lot of decisions in a day, from what to have for breakfast to where to send your kids to school. Some decisions we don't even realize we're making, and some take a lot of meditation, thought, and prayer to make. And how often in all of these decisions do we stop and think, where is that decision coming from? Are we making decisions out of fear or faith? Are your decisions based out of fear or out of love? Are they based on, are you making selfish decisions? Most fear based decisions are selfish ones because we're afraid of how we're going to look or how we're going to be perceived or how someone's going to think about us, instead of making decisions out of love. How can I help someone else, even if I look stupid doing it? How can I step up out of love and support another human being, even if I say something dumb and get made fun of? Is it fear or is it love? So, almost immediately after I gave birth to my second son, so right after my now 4-year-old was born, I had so many friends and family, and honestly, even strangers. A lot of strangers at the time were coming up to me and asking me, but they were always asking me if I was done or if we are going to try for a girl. Um, I'm sure a lot of moms relate to this. So, are you guys done? Are you having another? Like, I'm holding my newborn. Can I just enjoy my newborn, please? But also, at the time, my response was always the same. It was, we want more, but not until both of these two are out of diapers. I'm afraid to risk 3 boys this close in age. That was my automated response to so many people. And one day, as I'm saying it out loud, I realized I was using the word afraid. I was like, whoa, I'm afraid to risk having 3 boys this close in age. That's stupid. It was that moment that I realized I was using the word afraid that just this switch flipped in my brain. And in that instance, I had no reason not to have another child sooner. I was like, I'm not going to let fear stop me from having everything I've wanted. And then so much clarity came to me. And I realized actually what I did want was to have all my kids early, have them all close in age, not have these big age gaps. I wanted to be done using my body to support another human life by the time I was 30. That's what I realized I really wanted, was I want to have my kids, I want to get through the newborn stages and be done with it. And I was going to let fear stop me from having that. I almost let fear stop me from having the life I have right now with my 3 boys, all close in age. They're each 20 months apart. And it's the perfect spacing, honestly, if you ask me. If you're going to have 3 kids close in age, 20 months is great because it gives you a full year with your newborn before you get pregnant again. It gives you the right amount of time for your body to like recover. At least at the time I was having young babies, was they said let it recover for a year before you get pregnant again is your best a best practice. And size wise, hand me downs work out perfectly. And then I get to send a kid to school like every 2 years. having a new one in school because they're basically 2 years apart. The only time it makes me feel crazy is when we're at a weird time of the year where it's like, oh, I have a 2 year old, a 3 year old, and a 5 year old. Or I have a two, a four, and a five. Like right now, I have a two, a four, and a five. But pretty soon, I'm going to have a two, a four, and a six. I'm like, that feels nice. That feels nice to tell people I have a two, a four, and a six. Feels a little bit less crazy and hectic, even though the spacing is the same. It's two, four, and five. Um, but I really thought that I couldn't handle 3 boys. What made me think that? It was fear. That was fear. And my history with anxiety, which anxiety is a fear over things that may or may not happen, usually things that won't happen in the future. I was really going to live my life afraid of my future. That's dumb. And I am so glad I had that realization when I did, that I had my 3 boys when I had them, and that I am now done at the age of 30. I had my last kid at 29. So that meant by the time I was 30, I no longer had to be like breastfeeding, because breastfeeding was what I wanted to do with my kids. I was like, I can have my babies and I can breastfeed them as long as I want. Like, he ended up quitting breastfeeding at 10 months anyway. But I was like, I can have my body back to myself and start regulating my hormones and getting like normal cycles and like get to know my body for me by the time I'm 30. That's amazing to me. I didn't know that was everything I ever wanted. That's not what I envisioned growing up that 30 was going to be for me. But here I am. So, how do you tell if your decisions are fear based or if you're just being practical and logical? So, some decisions we make are carefully made. Some decisions we make after careful weighing the pros and cons. Others we make on impulse. Even some we consult a close friend on. So, to discern whether or not those decisions have been made on fear, we have to look at your reasoning for the decision you made. All right, so let's take quitting a workout plan, for example. I'd have to think why I gave it up. So, why, think of the last thing you quit. Like, why did you quit? Was it too hard? Did you maybe need an easier level to start with? Or was it not for your life? Not right for your life? Was it maybe not right for your lifestyle or for your body type if you're talking about a workout here? Did you quit because you were afraid to fail? Sometimes we give up on things before we can fail at them. It's kind of like dropping a class in college because an incomplete looks a whole lot better on your GPA than a big fat F. Are you taking incompletes in life because you're afraid of the F? Or did you quit because you were afraid to succeed? Sometimes we're so set in the ways of who we are right now. We are so addicted to playing small that the idea of change is unsettling. We get close to the things we want and we get scared. What happens if we succeed at this? Who do I become if I'm good at this? Like, hi, has this ever happened to a hot mess mom out there who was finally about to be on time for something? Did it terrify you so much you went and got yourself an iced coffee so you'd show up late? I've been there. I've done it. This is a safe place to admit. I've been so afraid of being on time to something that I have gone out of my way to become late for it. How dumb is that? Like, on the outside, looking back at it, it's dumb. But having been in that moment, it was so based out of fear. I was feeling so vulnerable. It was something so new and it was scary and it was terrifying. And I was used to walking in late, not being the first one to show up. Sometimes we do that. We just get afraid to do something right. We get afraid to be noticed for doing something right. That we keep playing small and getting it wrong. Fear continually finds ways to seep into our lives any way that it can. I'll be honest, I gave up training for a half marathon 3 years in a row. I had an excuse every time. I had bad knees. I had shin splints. I got pregnant. I just had a baby a few months before the race was supposed to happen. And here's the thing, this specific race, it was it had a 5K walk run option. At 3 months postpartum, I could have easily walked this. At 8 months pregnant, I could have easily walked it 2 years before that. So the timing was never wrong for me to be able to walk a 5K. Both times that this came around and I was either postpartum or pregnant, I could have done the walk run. Maybe not the whole half marathon, but I could have done the walk run. Walking a 5K, not even hard. It's literally a walk in the park. And so then I went and I trained for this race again for the 4th year. I trained for the same half marathon. And I was determined to run that full 13 miles. And then I saw myself already trying to talk myself out of it because I'd already pushed past the shin splints and the knee wasn't bothering me. And my body was fully recovered from the last birth with no current pregnancy in sight. Yet there I was talking myself out of training. And why? It's because I was scared of the hard work and commitment. I had to run 20 miles that week. And then I was going to have to run I was supposed to run 20 minutes that week. And then I'd have to run 30 the next week. And that commitment would keep growing. And that's what terrified me, was the idea of a growing commitment. And because the decision to end my training would have been 100% fear-based, I kept pressing on, however reluctantly. And I kept pushing on in training for another couple of weeks. But having removed fear from the decision, I was able to inevitably choose not to run the race. And I chose not to, not out of fear. Not out of fear of failure, not out of fear of success, not fear out of doing something new. When I took fear out of it and I was no longer fighting fear by running, I realized I really hate running. When I removed the fear from the equation, I was able to see it from a new lens. And I don't like how much time it takes out of my day to run. I don't like running enough to spend 30 minutes running. I'd rather do other things with my time. And I realized that's just how I feel about it. And I was able to confidently quit training for that half marathon I never ran. But fear didn't stop me. Logic did. Sometimes fear-based decisions are the smart decisions. I do have to note that here. Because sometimes fear is our body's way and our intuition's way of telling us, hey, this is unsafe and you really shouldn't do this. Just to put that out there. So now that we know if we're making a fear-based decision, how do we stop? How do we stop making the fear-based decisions? Okay, number one is know your worth. Put to death that voice that tells you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not strong enough. You are enough. And when you start believing that to your core, wonderful things begin to happen in your life. Oh my gosh, it opens doors. Doors will be wide open when you know your worth. You know your purpose, you know your value. Don't let anything stop you. You are so strong and beautiful and smart and capable and purposeful. My dog is choosing a terrible time to have a coughing fit. Now that we know if we're making a fear-based decision, how do we stop? How do we stop making the fear-based decisions? Okay. Number one, know your worth. Put to death that voice that tells you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not strong enough, because you are enough. You've always been enough. You are already everything you need to be and more. And when you start believing that to your core, wonderful things begin to happen in your life. So many wonderful things. You've got to eradicate that voice in your head that tells you you're not enough. And you've got to believe in your power and your purpose. You are meant for such wonderful, beautiful, amazing things. You really are. Number 2 is realize your decisions are fear-based. When we know that the core thoughts and feelings at the center of our decision, when we know them, we can better understand why we've made the decision. Right? Knowing is half the battle. The more you know. All right, number 3 is go ahead and weigh the danger. Ask, what are you afraid of? If the fear has anything to do with not being strong enough, smart enough, or good enough, ditch that reasoning. You are enough. And whatever you do lack, you will gain. If you need to be stronger, get stronger. If you need to be smarter, study up. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And the fact is, you have everything you need to start. Yeah, you'll get better along the way, but you have what you need to start. So just start. Start ugly, start unprepared, start sloppy, start messy. Just start. Start scared, but start. All right. And number 4 is decide to be brave. It's like I tell my 4-year-old, being brave doesn't mean you aren't scared. It means doing it even though you're scared. That's bravery. If you're not scared, you might just be stupid. Courage and bravery are decisions that don't come naturally to us. We have to make the decision to be brave and to turn from fear and go after what we want. Not because we aren't afraid, but because we won't let the fear stop us. Don't let fear make your decisions for you. You're the one in control of your life. You get to decide. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of I Get To. It really does mean the world to me to have you here. But are you ready to take this a step farther? Check the description below this episode and grab the Happy Mom Mindset mini guide. It's totally free to you, and it's not just for moms, by the way. Then hop onto Instagram. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Share your screenshot, tag me, Britt Clarkson. And if any part of this has resonated with you, I so appreciate if you'd leave me a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts. It really is just the only way podcasts get seen. And then share this on social, text it to your bestie. You're part of a movement now. We're here to change the minds of moms everywhere. It doesn't have to be just this hard, hot mess thing anymore. We get to enjoy our lives, guys. Let's go.